right. All right. I just want to make sure everybody is on before I jump right in. Let's see. All right. Let me know if you can hear and see me. All of that. I'll sit here idle until then. No. Welcome, by the way. My name is Jessie. I'm with Decker Truckline. I'm a recruiter here with Decker, and you are here on our live. If you didn't know where you're at, that's where you're at. This is our live Q&A, which really is an opportunity for you to ask your questions and us to answer them. All about trucking. So we're going to talk about a couple of things today. The number one thing we'll visit about is our Luma training, which is our orientation. This is our online orientation. Now, we are not 100% online before orientation because obviously some of it is hands-on, and it is still an interview process. So coming in to Fort Dodge is all part of it. So yes. All right. Sorry. I really wanted to get that all hooked up here. Are we good? Everybody on? Let's see. All right. So, welcome to our training here. We're just going to dive in. I'll talk a little bit about this Luma, and if you have any questions along the way, please just go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'll answer the questions as they come in. If you're wondering about what's available in your area, best thing to do is just give me your zip code and your so zip code or your city and state, and that way I'll be able to say or let you know what all we have available out of each area. So, and then we'll get started. Sound like a plan? All right. Think we're good? Okay, so that's what we'll do. Before we jump into the Luma training, and I'll hit on this in just a little bit, but really important reminder, we need to make sure that you're treating your fuel. Those of you who are in the Iowa area within the Midwest, you guys are supposed to be getting hit hard with snow, with cold temperatures, all of that. You know, those of us who are here in Montana, we're kind of lucky. We're only supposed to get like maybe an inch or so. That's according to Matt McConaughey. Matt McConaughey is our designated weather duder, our meteorologist. So Matt McConaughey is one of our driver managers in Missoula, excuse me, and he just gave me a call and said, "Yep, we're looking at about an inch or so, not too bad of weather, but Iowa, totally different story." So be prepared. You should have chains on your truck. It is the law. You must have chains on your truck as of the 1st of September through May 31st. Whether or not you're using the chains is really up to you because that is a professional call. You are the professional. We leave it up to you. But please make a safe judgment on that. Take care of yourself. About a foot of snow, 10 inches to a foot of snow is expected in the Iowa area. So, eek. Hey, Amy. It's snowing there. It's snowing. Super cold here, Amy says. Yep, I actually have sunshine coming in my window and loving it. Loving every minute of that. 1 to 3 inches in the valley, she says. She's also in Montana area, but we'll see. They lied so many times before. That's the meteorologist online, yeah. So we will see. Yeah, I don't have any weather yet, but, you know, I'm sure it's about ready to get here. Send the snow over to you. Well, yeah, so we've got about a foot that's headed into the Fort Dodge area. Yeah, Midwest. Watch the roads, watch the reports. Remember, we've got in your trucks, not only do you have the XM radio, or at least the utilities for that, but you also have the TV. So if you choose to get updates on the weather, you have access to do that. You'll probably just need to scan every time you stop. In order to get the local channels, you'll need to scan for the local channels each and every time. But yes, just as a reminder, keep your eyes open, be aware, and all that good stuff. So, hey Wally, Frog is in the house. All right, good to see you. So talking a little bit about Luma and all that entails. Luma is our new online training, which is available to all of our prospective drivers coming into orientation. So if you are scheduled for orientation this coming week on the 4th, you may have already received an email from us with a link to Luma Training. And it's going to go over a few things and a lot of policies, procedures in how we do things here at Decker. A lot of this will be reviewed for you when you come into orientation, but it'll be a very brief review once in orientation, because prior to coming on Monday, you'll have finished the online portion of it. So our goal is to shorten your orientation stay here in Fort Dodge so that we can get you rolling a little bit quicker. I know that's one thing that you guys have asked is you know what, orientation, yeah, it's a week long. We are of information, and we don't want you guys to go out there without having the proper tools, the proper resources, and knowing what those are. And so that's why we're really thorough in the orientation process. Still, we do respect your time. We know time is money for you, and we don't dare take up more than we need to in order to get you educated in the Decker system, the Decker way. So that being said, we have our Luma training, and it is in full swing right now. So what you'll do is you'll get this email from us. Abby will send out the email letting you know that you have some, what we call e-nuggets for the training. So you have some of those. I'm trying to throw my mouse around here. Sorry about that. As I shake the whole camera. But you'll have these e-learning collections, and within the collections are e-nuggets, and these e-nuggets are short. All these phrases are phrases that we use within this Luma training. The website is actually eNugget Learning, which is the Luma training, the actual name of the software, the online resource is Luma. So anyways, within it, these e-nuggets are short video clips. Some of the longer video clips I've seen, one of them was in the trafficking, so the human trafficking, being aware of that, knowing what it's all about and how to prevent it, help stop it, who to contact if you see anything. That's probably the longest video that I've seen, and that's about 26 minutes. Most of the videos are, anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, probably more accurate. And then it's followed by a number of questions. And all of the questions can be found in the information that is provided. So there isn't going to be anything that you'll have that we're asking you that you won't already have that information available to you. Yeah, Anna said it's snowing there. She told me it was pretty cold earlier today. Amy says Caden's been begging to go ice skating. School makes a rink on the baseball field, so that's fun. Yep, yeah, I agree with that. The water underneath. Actually, I saw people ice fishing this weekend on what had to have been less than an inch of ice outside of the Helena area. I mean, I saw more water for sure than I saw ice above everything, and there are a lot of people on there with huts, and that's crazy to me. Crazy, I tell you. So yes, indeed. Like I said, if you guys have any questions in the meantime, please go ahead and put it in the chat. Between Anna, myself, Amy, any of us will be able to answer those questions as they come along. Zip codes are handy if you're wondering what we have available in your area, or just the city and state is fine as well. Okay, so back to this Luma training and what it all entails. You'll first get off this. Now remember, this is just the orientation process that I'm talking about now, because we do have quarterly training that's available through our Luma training. We've done one quarterly training so far for it. It was this last quarter. But for the Luma training for orientation, it's going to consist of a welcome from Mr. Decker himself. So Don is on there welcoming you to Decker and kind of giving you a history of Decker and what it's all about. If you've seen or heard our podcast, I think it was the first podcast, or first or second podcast, it's the history of Decker. And so a lot of that information is visited about in the podcast that we did back in, I want to say, is it January or February this year, when we started. Oh no, I lied. It was March, April when we first started the podcast this year. So if you missed that, a lot of the information is in there, and you can go ahead and check that out. It's really interesting to know what the history of Decker is all about, and it's really fun to sit down with Mr. Decker himself and hear his story, just firsthand, what kind of the odd jobs that he had to do while he was growing up, and the towels, picking up the dirty rags and towels in the shop and getting that all picked up and cleaned. But so Amy says, has Decker had a driver do orientation a few months later, win a driver of the month, or do they have to wait for the 90-day period? They do not have to wait for a 90-day period. Good question. So they don't have to wait for the 90-day period. So our driver of the month program is based off of your scorecard, which is our monthly bonus, and your smart drive, which is another monthly bonus that's available to you. So the scorecard bonus has several different criteria. It's your several different factors, I guess, within the bonus. It's 1,000 points total, so you want those 1,000 points to max out for it. But you are looking at your miles, your fuel compliance, your idle time. You're looking at CSA points, on-time delivery, preventable accidents, claims. Those are all factors within the scorecard itself. So if you had a high idle time, it's going to deduct up to 50 points. If you have, if you weren't compliant with your fuel, you could deduct as much as 50 points, which can make a big difference. It could be from having an extra 4 cents a mile for all the miles that you had for that month to an extra 3 miles or 3 cents a mile, or even 2 cents a mile, depending on how many points you lost based off of that criteria. So to answer your question a little bit more in depth here, but you can win it right away. And we've had people who have, I'm trying to think of who it was, who's won quite quickly. I was trying to think of who it was. Not necessarily driver of the month, but definitely getting 1,000 scorecard points right away. But those are the factors. So if your scorecard is, usually it's somebody who's getting 1,000 point scorecard, because we do have a lot of people that are getting that, and more on a regular basis, which we love to see. The more we pay out, the better we are doing, because you've earned additional funds for us in order to do so. So that being said, the Smart Drive is one of the safety features that are in the truck, and you get an extra penny per mile for having 20 points or below on your Smart Drive score. That does include having your inward and outward facing event recorders on, and of course having fewer than 20 points. The following distance, speed gauge, lane departure, those are all habits that are calculated, or at least not calculated, but they're all habits that are recorded during your drive time. So if your points are 20 or below, you will get an extra penny per mile on all the miles. Someone who has a good scorecard, a good Smart Drive score, they are usually up for nomination for the Driver of the Month. The Driver of the Month, there's one for every division, and the Driver of the Month is a $100 gift card to Walmart, plus a $50 gift card to the Decker store. But then you also have, we also have the nominees, and not every division has a nominee. It just depends on how many are in that division. The larger the division, the more nominees we have. So if you have, so for Midwest Refrigerated, for example, we have usually 2 nominees for that division, and you'll get an extra $50 gift card to Walmart, and then you'll get a gift from the Decker store. That stuff we'll send out to you. But yes, so any driver who qualifies, or who meets the highest standards for that month is eligible for it. Amy says, I hate ice where there is any non-frozen water under it. Yep, avoid it at all costs. It's just too dangerous. It's too big of a risk. Absolutely. Let's see. Josh, hello. Josh Diggs, good to see you. You know what, Anna? It just does not want you posting links lately. It's just not allowing it. So I do want to say for the podcast, for you guys who are interested in the podcast, you can go ahead and send it or go to anchor.com/Decker Truckline in order to access that. Yeah, for some reason it's not giving you access to it. You can get a hold of us on our blog. If you check out our blog at Decker Truckline, or drivedecker.com/blog, you can see a lot of that information as well. But most of all, if you have questions, make sure that you give us a call, 888-668-0698. That's what we're here for. Answer those questions. Okay, so back to Luma. Like I said, if you have any other questions, interrupt. Let's do it. Let's answer them. That's what this is all about. But back to Luma. This is our orientation training, the online training. You'll have the welcome from Mr. Decker, a little bit of intro into the company policies and procedures. Basically, we start with, you'll start with a 10,000 foot view of the company, and then we just bring you down. So 10,000 foot view, 5,000, where you're looking at some of the company policies and procedures just on a real basic level, and then you'll dive in deep into each one of those policies and get to know them a little bit more. Like the dog policy, we allow a dog up to 85 pounds. It does need to be a non-aggressive breed, so you'll get information on that. You'll get information on the rider policy, which is $25 a month for a rider, ages 10 to 69. You'll get information on some of the policies with the handheld devices. We do not allow handheld devices while you're going down the road. It is against the law. Some of the seatbelt requirements, you must be wearing a seatbelt if you are doing anything, driving anywhere except for in reverse. You'll go into some of the safety details, such as the hours of service. I mentioned trafficking information on human trafficking, and to be aware of that, to report if you've seen it, as well as hazard details, hazmat security awareness with that. You'll have going over cover sheets. I think that's really important. A lot of these things that you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis, like the cover sheets, which you need to get in on every single load prior to getting paid for it. So all of your cover sheets and all of your BOLs, your paperwork has to be in by Sunday night at 10 p.m. in order to get paid for that. Hey Bobby, does Decker train for flatbed? Currently, no. We are not training for flatbed. We do require 1 year of flatbed experience over the road. Actually, we can work with as little as 9 months of tractor trailer experience, but 1 year is preferred. So that has been a change since the beginning of the year. So 1 year of flatbed experience, 9 months of flatbed experience, I guess, is actually what it is. Rider policy starts after 90 days. Yep, absolutely. Did I miss any others? Oh, Anna made a good point. If you guys have any questions about the Smart Drive and what your Smart Drive score is, reach out to your driver manager or your fleet manager. They'll be able to answer that for you. They'll be able to break it down in where your points are being deducted from if you are, in fact, not getting a full 1,000 points. We want to see you guys do well at this. Honestly, the better you do, the better it is for us. And that's why we pay a bonus on it. I mean, it's just that simple. So if you're not already getting paid bonuses, or you're not maxing out on those bonuses, reach out to your fleet manager and see how you can improve. Reach out to Darren or Jason or Gerard or Patrice, any of us really, but someone who can really coach you into improving those scores so that you can make the most out of every mile and all your pay in total. So speaking of pay, that's an extra 5 cents a mile that you can get between the scorecard and the Smart Drive bonus. As a new driver to Decker, we currently have a $5,000 sign-on bonus as well. We call it our quarterly accelerated sign-on bonus, and that would get you $1,250 every single quarter, plus an additional 5 cents a mile, that's the accelerated part, for any miles over 25,000 for the refrigerated and van divisions, or an extra an extra 5 cents a mile on all the miles over 20,000 for the flatbed division, if you're in that one. Hey, Bob! Hello. Have no fear, for I am here. Always. Good to have you. Hope you had a great Christmas. Yeah, I hope all of you guys had a great Christmas. Hope it was wonderful. And we've got New Year's coming up on Thursday. Also on Thursday, we have the drawing for the referral bonus. So I hope you guys check that out. Thank you, Bob. So absolutely. Now back to that Luma. Some more training in the orientation itself. That is going to take some time before coming into orientation, like physical orientation. The online orientation is going to take a little bit of time. I was going through them and just trying to calculate about how much to expect. You're going to need a good, not necessarily all in one chunk, but you're going to need a good several hours in order to get through that training. We're replacing at least a day of orientation with the training. So that right there should tell you about how long you should be, or how much time you should be setting aside in order to complete the training. That way, again, we can get you dispatched out a little bit sooner. You're still getting the $1,000 for completing orientation, which is going to be $500 on first dispatch on a comm check, and then the $500 direct deposited, along with whatever miles you were able to complete by Sunday at 10. And get the paperwork in, of course. It did not. Maybe a little bit. Bob. Don't admit to it, Anna. So going through the Luma training will cut down on a good day's time period. Maybe even a little bit more, just depending on as we go along. This is new to us. The online orientation part is new to us, so we are adjusting and making adjustments where needed. But so far it's gone well, and we'll continue to make improvements where needed. That being said, you come in usually on a Sunday night. We've got your hotel, obviously your transportation here to Fort Dodge is taken care of. Normally it's a rental car. Sometimes we do a flight. It just depends on where you're at. We take care of the gas as well as the rental car when it comes to the rental car. So every time you need to fill up, you'll be calling in our after hours as well as Janelle. They'll have express codes for you in order to get paid, or at least to pay the fuel on the way here, the gas on the way here, I should say. They're cars, they're not trucks. So that being said, you'll come over Sunday night. We'll have a hotel room for you. They are not shared rooms. We are COVID compliant in all aspects, but we didn't share rooms before, let alone now. Bob says I have 7 years. So we've got the hotel rooms, Baymont Inn and Suites in Fort Dodge. And then come Monday morning, they will have somebody from orientation come and pick you up, bring you to orientation. We start off by doing the PCE and the physical. So PCE, for those of you unfamiliar with it, is like range of motion, resistance, and then measurement. So I know a lot of companies, they'll have you raise weight over your head. It's not weight. It does measure your strength, but it doesn't, it won't, it's not actual weight being lifted over your head. It's just a measurement of it. The PCE, the physical, regular DOT physical, compliance with that you are compliant with DOT regulations for medical. And then, of course, we do both the hair follicle and the urinalysis for the drug and alcohol testing. So that is usually done on Monday. Tuesday, you're going through, you will have, well, I guess you have a little bit of paperwork on Monday as well, and getting some things signed. Katie will go through a few things and making sure everything's finalized. We've got up-to-date dates and signatures for you. You will go over the Geotab unit. Now, the Geotab unit is in the trucks. It is replacing the Omnitrax unit for the ELDs. And then with the Geotab unit, we have the ALK navigation, which is also part of it. The Geotab, well, basically Geotab has partnered with TransFlow. A lot of you are very familiar familiar with TransFlow and what that's all about, you can download the TransFlow mobile app on your phone. And actually there's a Decker Truckline mobile app that you'll want to be using. You'll download that on your phone, and then of course it'll be on the Geotab in the truck as well. So the tablet in the truck will have the Geotab unit, or it is the Geotab unit, but it'll have TransFlow on there, which will basically portal direct access to your logs, your ELD, your navigation, your communication with your driver manager or your fleet manager, how you get your paperwork in. So you have the ability to scan your paperwork as well as getting your log and stuff, miles and everything into the payroll department. So that's what the Geotab is, and like I said, it's replacing the Omnitrax. A lot of you already have it. We are still putting them in, about 30 a week, so we hope to have that done soon. So those are all up to date for everybody. Whatever. Snowing, isn't it? Hey, Joe. Joe says, hey, Anna, hope Decker is treating you well. There you go. So once we've completed, let's see, that's probably Wednesday or so, Monday or so. And then Tuesday, you'll go over more of the paperwork. You're kind of doing a review of what you went over in the online training. It is going to be quick because you're not going to do as much, it's not as much prep because you've already done the prep coming into orientation. So we're going to allow a couple of hours to go. However, it may not go that full time. It may go a little bit longer. It just depends on how, if there's additional questions on the cover sheets. The cover sheets, that's what payroll needs to see on every single load that you are doing. Now, from start to finish. So you're going to, if you have a load that has multiple drops, you're going to have one cover sheet for that load from empty to loaded all the way to empty again. You'll have one cover sheet for that. And that goes with every single load. Make sure that you get receipts at every stop. If you're paying lumpers, we need receipts. We need all of the paperwork, a signature on the BOL for each one. All of that information you'll go over not only in the online training that's provided through Luma, but also in class in orientation on Tuesday morning. So you'll start that. The cover sheets are going to be scanned through your TransFlow and sent to payroll. That cutoff, by the way, is Sunday at 10 p.m. So once you're done with that, we'll have groups doing road tests. So everybody will go through a road test at Decker. And that'll go through a good chunk of Tuesdays. And while some are testing, others will be sitting down with Darren and Katie and going through the clearinghouse, going through some of the expectation forms that we have. Expectation forms. Let me tell you a little bit about what this is. Basically, that is what the recruiter will fill out on your behalf with what you are looking to financially make, both net and gross on a weekly basis, what kind of miles you are hoping to get on a weekly basis or want to get, as well as expecting to get. So what you want, what you understand Decker is able to provide, those are your expectations. And that is something that the recruiter will go through with you before you come into orientation. So that's usually the week before, maybe sometimes more often than that. Once the recruiter has done that, then the recruiter or myself, for instance, I will then upload that and provide it to Darren as well as your driver manager so that they know what you are expecting. Make sure that we're all on the same page. I can't tell you how many times I've had people say, oh, I went to this company and the recruiter told me one thing, and when I got there it was totally different. These expectation forms should keep the communication open in order to not run into that, period. So this is a way to protect your expectations and ours, so we're all on the same page. I don't think I do. Bob, no dimples. Oh, from Russellville, Arkansas. Hey, Howard. Good to have you. So that is basically what you can expect for the, more of the expectation form, what to expect for the expectation. The expectation form with Darren, he sits and goes through it with you. You'll also go day afternoon with your driver manager, and your recruiter will probably be in on that as well. So bouncing back, lunches are taken care of. Hotel has your breakfast. So what they've been doing since COVID hit is they've been bagging your breakfasts so that you have that to eat every morning, and then we'll bring in a lunch for you. So lunches are provided, and then dinner each night. You'll have a gift card or basically a gift card or receipt so that you can go grab something to eat at one of the nearby locations, somewhere near the hotel, so that you're not having to go searching for it, especially right now when the weather is supposed to be bad. And then Tuesday afternoon for Flatbed, we'll go over the load securement, tarping and securement training for those of you. We do require that you have 9 months of Flatbed experience. So this is not a full-on training necessarily. I mean, they will train you in it, but we expect you to already have the experience. So it should be more of a review and testing to make sure that you have a good understanding of what the load securement expectations are and that you can do them. For the most part, most of our loads, like 90% or higher, are tarped. So you definitely need to know how to do that. Wednesday, you'll go over additional company policies, safety policies, with training, orientation and training. That'll start right away on Wednesday morning. You'll go over some personnel policies and probably have benefits and HR come in and talk and go through a lot of this. You will also have guest speakers. I'm going to say guest speakers. I don't know. We'll have our management team, someone from our management team as well, come in. We have an open door policy, and we want to make sure that is very well known. So if you have questions, if you have suggestions, if you have concerns, anything like that, please reach out to one of us. Your first contact is your fleet manager. They're your go-to. You can always call your recruiter and ask questions. They love it when you call them with referrals. Hint, hint. Plus, referrals pay you well. $1,500 within 90 days, at least. That's the minimum. Anyways, where was I going with that? Yes. So you can call your fleet manager. That's your direct one. Your recruiter is another direct one, another direct line of communication you have. Who else? If you want to talk to the shop, breakdown, safety, I mean, you can call any of us directly, but really the fleet manager is your main go-to. Also, we have an ART program, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but that ambassador is yet another resource that you'll have, and our resource driver, who also is available through the ART program, is another contact that you have. But just because those are your main contacts doesn't mean that if you have a question or a concern that you aren't able to talk to Brad or talk to Ken or talk to any of the upper level management. That they are there to answer questions and concerns, and they care. And I think that alone says it. So they care and they want to know how we can make things work for you. You'll also go through some of the permits. Janelle will go over the fueling and fuel compliance and all of that. Now we do a routing system, so you are routed with the fuel. You'll get that on every load. If at all you have questions, you do need to reach out to her. She is there to make sure that you are compliant and to help you stay compliant. Couple reasons. One, it saves the company money and it can save us quite a bit. It may not look like a huge amount for one truck, but remember, 50 trucks, it adds up on a daily basis quite quickly. So make sure that you're staying compliant. It is such a main factor, or one of the 7 factors in our scorecard bonus, because it can make that big of a difference on the bottom line. Janelle is the one tracking all of that. If you need to be rerouted, or if something needs to change, she is your contact. Talk to your fleet manager first, but if there's anything question, she is available. The routing is based off of the tractor fuel, not the reefer fuel or the DEF. So it is based off of the tractor fuel. So if you need to fuel the reefer more often, that's understandable, and that's doable. But again, get permission from Janelle if you have any questions. A lot of that information is available on the online training through Luma, and that training Janelle's the one doing the training there, and she goes right through the basics and then gets even more specific. So I don't think it'll leave any question for you, but she's there if you need it. Also, we'll have the shop come in, Matt, Rod, maybe even Tyson coming in and giving you tips, suggestions, making sure that you know when and how to communicate with the shop and the best way to hand off your truck to the shop and receiving from the shop. It's great to remember to touch base with them. Okay, these are some concerns that I have. These are issues I was having with the truck. Let them know. We don't know all of the shop will not know all of the issues that you're having if you don't tell them. So it does need to be communicated each time you go into the shop. So a lot of their stuff will be brought up. They do a full scan of your truck, but some things just don't come up on those. And that's why we need you to make sure that you're communicating and receiving communication from the shop as well. Logs, you'll go over the logs, like I said, with the Geotab unit and the ELDs there. You'll have some of that information for you as well. That is Wednesday morning. So Wednesday morning is packed, and you can see that as the week goes along, more and more is just put in there. You'll meet with your fleet manager Wednesday mid-morning to afternoon. And with COVID, we are trying to distance that a little bit. If we have a fleet manager that's sick, that's going to affect several of our drivers. So we want to make sure that we are keeping distance not only there, but we also don't want to put any of you guys at risk if a fleet manager was to get sick. So we're keeping our distance there. Most of the conversations are going to be over telephone or maybe even video chat. There we go. Is the word I wanted for that. With your fleet managers. And possibly recruiters. Again, you'll probably meet with our driver liaisons, you'll talk to their director of operations for each division. Bessemer, Alabama, you'll be visiting with Jeremy, you'll be hearing from him. Stephen Hatton out of Missoula, or Jason Storleen, Michael Arrett, you'll be hearing from, like I said, several of the director of operations. Get a good feel for how things run. You'll meet with Patrice on the Smart Drive. Now he's very thorough with the Smart Drive system and leaves really no questions for you. Oops, excuse me. No questions on what that's all about and how that how you can get a bonus for that. So that'll be really helpful to you. So Patrice Ghost is one of the safety features that are in the truck. It is the inward and outward facing event recorders. It is measurement of driver habits, so following too close, erratic lane changes, speed gauge, those are all habits that are discovered through the Smart Drive system. And let's see, Patrice also works with the driver resource team. He also heads that, so we'll go a little bit into detail on that. That's usually Thursday morning, depending on how quickly everything's going. You'll meet with Tim Burns and Michael Arrett, Rick George, like Night Ops. Night Ops will come in, have a few words. Night Ops as well is a great go-to. They're there to answer questions for you. They are there 24/7. Well, not necessarily Night Ops 24/7, but somebody is here 24/7. So just to keep track of you. Turbo from Marion, Kansas. Hello. Is Turbo Troy? If it is, hello. Thank you, Bob. I kind of got sidetracked and wasn't paying attention to the comments, so I apologize. C. King, do you guys have a critical incident program like Schneider? I am not aware of what theirs is. You want to give me some detail, C. King, and let me find out. Let me see what it's all about. How's that? PDD, why the recruiter had told me I need flatbed experience. They would train me. I would have to go reefer for a couple of months. why the recruiter had told me I did need flatbed experience. They would train me and I would have to go reefer for a couple months. So depending on your area, I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, PDD, but if we do require flatbed experience, yes. Last year, we did offer training in flatbed. So that could be the difference in what you're saying, if I'm reading your comment correctly. Some areas we only have refrigerated, some areas we only have flatbed, some we do have multiple options. Van as well. So yeah, it could be multiple options there. Thank you. Our trucks are governed at 68 on the cruise and 65 on the pedal. And the company speed max is 70. Yep, and definitely Anna says, call a recruiter. That's her. 888-668-0698. Or you can throw it, well, I hate to have you put your number on there and get all random calls, but otherwise you can reach out to us on facebook.com and you /Detail Inc. and give us your telephone number and I will go ahead and one of the recruiters will call you. 888-668-0698 is the telephone number though to get a hold of the recruiter when you do have time. All right, so what else? Did I hit everything really? Meet with Tyson, meet with Katie. We do take your picture when you come into orientation, because if you do get driver of the month or hero of the week or something like that, you get we need to have a picture to post along with it. So we're also partnering with Workhound. Workhound is our new survey company that we're partnering with. We did have, now for the life of me, I can't think of who it was, but we did have another company that we were partnering with. That survey company did provide a lot of information based off of our drivers' responses. And yes, it is confidential. You can get to a certain level where it's not confidential, or you may choose for it not to be. But for the most part, it's confidential. It helps us to understand what areas we need to improve on. And it could be as much as the online orientation or orientation. It could be with the communications. It could be with the Qualcomm or Geotab. Really a variety of things. It goes over pretty much anything we can think of: benefits, pay, miles, equipment, all of that. And it really helps us to improve. We've made a lot of improvements based off of results and suggestions through these surveys. We've also made a lot of improvements through suggestions on the driver council or people sending suggestions. Like for example, we have a suggestion box at all of the terminals. I don't know if you guys knew that. Bob, was that you? My goodness. Anyways, we do have suggestion boxes at all of the terminals, and so it is confidential if you wish. You can contact us at suggestions or info@deckermail.com. P.S. If you are suggesting something for the podcast, please send it to podcast@deckermail.com. And side note on that, we have a DOT officer coming in to answer some questions that this as well was a suggestion to have a DOT officer come in and have an interview for our podcast. And that is coming, I want to say it was this week, maybe it's next week, that they're coming in soon. So if you have questions, please send your questions for the DOT officer to podcast@deckermail.com. Okay, cool. Michael says, what is the average age of the trucks? Average age is right around 18 months. I'm going to say, actually, Michael, I'm going to push it to about 2021 right now. The oldest truck is 3 years. The reason for the average age to be a little bit higher than it has been in the past is because COVID kind of threw off our shipment. So we were supposed to be getting shipments in March and April of this year, and those didn't start coming in until I want to say June or even August. It was a heck of a delay. But the average age is about 18 to 20 months. We like to keep it right at the 18-month period because our equipment is newer. That's just the trucks themselves. The trailers, they average about 3 years for the trailers. So yeah, definitely newer equipment. And they are stocked with pretty much everything you can think of. They have APUs and inverters, refrigerators, microwaves, TV with Epic View satellite television programming. That's company paid, and it's over 100 channels. And yes, it includes HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and the Sunday Ticket. So lots of that. Sirius Radio. I do want to say Sirius Radio, the equipment is all included. However, the subscription is up to you, unless you refer 2 or more drivers within the year, and then that's paid as well. What else do we have? CB units in the truck. The Qualcomm, obviously, or Geotab unit, depending on which one you have at the time, but eventually it'll all be Geotab. We have the scanners in the truck, or the Geotab unit. Smart Drive, which is the inward and outward facing event recorders, the safety gauges, safety analysis on everything for the Smart Drive. What am I missing? The trucks they're pretty well equipped, I must say. Plus a lot of the basics, the fluids, extra fluids and stuff that you need to stay safe. Obviously the chains for the winter months, all of that. Oh, he got his snow pants. Amy says he got his snow pants. Well, that means that he can go ride his what is it, the 4-wheeler snowmobile, right? Yeah, I'm with you, Aim. Always replacing those, right? So to just kind of close with the Luma itself, Luma Training is going to make this orientation process a lot easier. But it will not only be for those going through orientation. Our safety, not just our safety either, not just our quarterly trainings, but our in-house training as well. Making sure that the recruiters are staying up to date, our fleet managers, our safety department, and our shop, and we'll be utilizing the Luma platform frequently to make sure everything's up to date for you guys. So it's not just you, all of you. All of us are taking that on. So finishing up orientation, usually on Thursday, online training, you'll be introduced to our art program, which is our ambassador resource team. This is for you, basically. So for those of you who are coming into Decker, this is a support system for you, a direct line to them. So you'll have somebody in-house, and like I said, we have an open door policy. So you may end up working with Brad. You may be working with Tim. You may be working with myself or Mitch, or somebody in-house. It could be a fleet manager. Someone in-house that you'll be able to contact with any questions that you have. Someone other than your fleet manager. So you have that additional resource to contact, that additional individual. They'll be reaching out to you, whether it be Courtney or whoever that resource is to you, or I guess it's the ambassador, whoever that ambassador is to you. They'll be reaching out and making contact with you, making sure that you have their number in case you need anything, and they'll reach out on a regular basis. And then we also have our resource driver. Now the resource driver is one of our drivers who have volunteered to be there, help you along the way, answer questions, get you comfortable and get you familiar with Decker and some of the customers that we're working with. So that's the resource driver. And basically we're working as teams to help support you wherever you might need it. So we want to make sure that your transition into Decker is a positive one that if you need something, we'll be here. And yep, these are, you might get more contact from us initially, because we're checking up on you, making sure that this is my number. Here's a little bit of information I want to make sure that you're getting, because you are getting a lot of info between the online orientation and orientation in-house. I know you're getting a lot of information, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I want to make sure that you're still retaining it, and retaining it is probably the most important thing, and that's why we've kind of split it up a little bit. But as long as you're retaining it, you'll have that contact from both the ambassador and the resource driver in case you need anything at all. So, and don't forget, your fleet manager's there as well. Amy says, Caden got a four-wheeler for Christmas. He has a snowmobile. Yeah, they're both green, I saw. Little more snow. Yeah, he wants to put those to use. That's no fun just staring at them. Excellent. Hey, by the way, shout out, little snow, little Christmas. We might have to send you guys over to Fort Dodge, Amy, to get a little snow. But did you guys know that this year we as in Decker, won the Kennedy Christmas lights. Woohoo! So Fort Dodge, every year they do this competition, and it's the Kennedy Center? The light show. Anyways, Lights at Kennedy, I think is what it is. And we were voted by the public, the top light show. So how cool is that? It was really cool to see. I wonder if I could show this to you. Hang on, let me see if I can pull this up for you. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Lights at Kennedy. Give me a sec. Let's see if I'm smarter than no guarantee. We all know. So the Lights at Kennedy. There you go. Awesome. I think it was Tammy that sent that over to me. Nice, Abe. Keep it in neutral. Keeping peace among the cousins, right? Did anybody have any questions about the Luma training or about the orientation process at all? Feel free to chime right in if you do. While I wait for those questions to come in, I do need to tell you we've got a couple of different options available for you. So those of you who are looking to come aboard to Decker, make sure that you contact one of the recruiters, 888-668-0698. You can also apply directly online at drivedecker.com, and then in the upper right hand corner it says apply now. That's going to be the full application. And make sure you're thorough with it. If you're having any problems with the application, call one of the recruiters. For some reason, it is sometimes easier just to fill out the application over the phone for you and email you the signature. PDDD says, did you answer my question? I thought I did, but I wasn't quite sure what you were asking or what you were saying. So let me just make sure, PDD. We do require 9 months of flatbed experience if you're going into the flatbed division. We do train it in orientation, but we still require that experience. The training is just to make sure that you're doing it the Decker way and that you're doing it to what we feel is more thorough, more secure, safer route. So we do train in orientation, but we require that experience up front. However, a year ago it was a different story. We didn't require it. We did offer more training. Since COVID hit, quite a few things. That's one of them that has changed. I don't know if that is answering your question or if I'm misunderstanding what you're stating. So if I didn't, I apologize. Oh, and C. King, I totally missed. You said any regional near Kansas City, 1 year reefer experience. We do. We have regional. We actually have a guaranteed pay in the refrigerated division that will get you home on a weekly basis, coming in on like a Friday night or Saturday morning, leaving back out either Sunday night or Monday morning. So yes, we do have one available. That one, it guarantees $12.50 a week. Of course, if your rate of pay and your miles that you're running exceed that of the $12.50, then you're going to get the better of the two. But those qualifications are the same qualifications as our guaranteed pay and our minimum guarantee all across the board. You must be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. No load refusals. No late load, so 100% on-time delivery. No driver service failures. No preventable accidents. No CSA violations for the week. Remember, it's a week-by-week basis. And what's the other one? What am I missing? Oh, get your paperwork in. Get your paperwork in. Transflow, scanner, whatever. Sorry about that, C. King. I totally missed that. Turbo says, yes, ma'am. So it is Troy. I thought so. When I saw Miriam, I figured it was. Make sure I didn't miss any other comments here, you guys. I apologize for that. Okay, PDD. Thanks. Yes. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. Poor Anna's trying to share some of our information and it will not allow you. I have no idea why not. I'll have to figure that out, Anna. YouTube's doing a beta mode and that's the one that I've been using, so maybe that's why. I don't know. Okay. What else? Oh, for available positions. So yes, Kansas City area, we've got the guaranteed pay of $12.50 a week. If you guys live in Chicago, and this is key, you have to have flatbed experience. If you've got at least 9 months of flatbed experience and you live in Chicago, like as in within 50 miles of Chicago, then we have home daily or home multiple times throughout the week. So basically it's a local position and it pays $1,700 per week. That's our flatbed division. Now in our more regional flatbed, so if you're looking, well I guess that's not, the local is more regional, but in our regional flatbed, Midwest flatbed that can get you home on a weekly basis, it is available from Fort Dodge to Mason City, Iowa, up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to Chicago, back to Fort Dodge. If you live along that route and you have 9 months of flatbed experience, then same thing. We've got the $14.50 a week is what we have available for you. $14.50 a week, so home on weekends. Also for the $14.50 a week, if you live anywhere from Iowa City over to or south to St. Louis, on over to Columbus, Ohio, up to Toledo, over towards the Chicago area, back to Iowa City, anywhere within that route, not just along that route, but within that route. So Iowa, Indiana, Ohio area, Iowa, then we can get you home, a little bit of Missouri, we can get you home not only on a weekly basis, but guarantee you that $14.50 a week. Lots of opportunity there. A refrigerated opportunity out of the Midwest, along I-80, along I-90 in the Midwest. Some weekly home time with the guaranteed pay of $12.50. Same with the Kansas City area. We've got home weekly in the Southeast that runs a lot of Midwest and a lot of Southeast. Mostly Southeast, but it is a lot of, you're still running the Midwest in that one. That one is really if you live from Jackson, Mississippi over to Atlanta, Georgia, along that route up towards kind of the Knoxville, more towards Nashville, along that route over into Memphis and then back down to Jackson. Everything in between there is within the hiring area for our Southeast refrigerated. It'll get you home weekly. You need to expect at least one run into the Midwest a week. And guarantees $1,000 a week, although your rate of pay and so the cents per mile and the miles you run will most likely exceed that. So, does any questions for more specific on your rate of pay, which is based off of your experience, please contact one of the recruiters at 888-668-0698. But just keep in mind, whether you're looking at refrigerated or you're looking at flatbed, unless it's a guaranteed pay position that's above the $1,000, like the $12.50 for guaranteed pay or the $14.50 for flatbed or the $1,700 even, then you know that you'll have at least $1,000 gross each week as our minimum guarantee to you in all of those divisions. You do have to meet the qualifications, the real basic qualifications, and it's on a week-by-week basis. Get your paperwork in. No load refusals. No late loads. So on-time delivery. No violations. CSA violations. No preventable accidents. Be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. Those are the qualifications. Like I said, real basic, but they are set there. And the $1,000 is basically for you to fall back on. So if you had a mechanical issue, yes, we pay breakdown, layover, detention. We do pay those, but sometimes still with the miles, that $1,000 is a safety net for you. But you should be going over. All right, I have kept you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to one of the recruiters. That's what we're here for, to answer those questions. 888-668-0698. All right, or apply online at drivedecker.com. I know I have a couple phone calls to return, so I'll get to those right now. But in the meantime, if you guys have questions, give us a holler. We will be back here at noon Central on Tuesday here on our YouTube channel. So next Tuesday, the 5th, is that right? Yep, the 5th. And that means new calendar. So coming down, can't wait to see who's going to be on my calendar. Oh yeah, Minnesota full of snow. It's Cody's. All right, so don't worry, Howard, you're still up for another couple of days. Yes, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, you guys. Please be careful. And huge reminder, please do not forget that with the temperatures being as cold as they are, get yourself the right anti-gel. If you're coming from the southeast and you're coming up to the Midwest or the Northwest or wherever, make sure you have the right fuel, anti-gel, or whatever in the truck or in the fuel itself. If you're coming from the southeast and you're coming up to the Midwest, you're probably going to need to add it. If you're coming from the Midwest and coming to the Northwest, you might need to add it again. And I think with Penray, it's 1 container to every 100 gallons, and the other one is for every 1 container. I think it's 250. What's the other one? Service something, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, make sure you're treating that. It costs anywhere from $500 to $1,500 each time we have to go pick up a truck or get a truck from that has gelled up. So please make sure that you are properly treating your fuel. Plus, you don't want to be cold or stuck somewhere, so make sure you do that, please. If you don't already have some of that anti-gel to keep on the truck, then you need to pick some up. Let your fleet manager know so that they can okay the reimbursement for that or the funds for it. Otherwise, pick it up at one of the terminals, because we have them at the terminals as well. But please make sure that you are treating your fuel. It's going to be cold and you do not want to get stuck. And it's a fortune. Good chunk of change to fix that mistake. Power R Plus Diesel Anti-Gel. That's what it is. I can never remember. Yep. Okay. So 250s for the Penray, and the Power Service, that's the one I can never remember. The Power Service is for 100 gallons. Cool. Thank you, Anna. All right. Be safe. Don't test your limits. Know your limits, and don't put them to the test, right? Something like that from Patrice. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I will talk to you Thursday on our Facebook channel as we draw a winner for the referral bonus. A chance at $750 cash or a new tablet or laptop. Your choice for the winner. Drawn out. And then what else do we have? Next Monday, 4 p.m. Central on our Facebook channel. So I will see you at all of them, or maybe one of them, or maybe on a replay. Either way, stay safe, you guys, and please enjoy